Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm the Book Geek, also known as Kiava, and this will be everything I watched in February. Now, let me make myself clear. This is not everything that I watched in February. Maybe I should change that title. This is everything that was new to me that I watched in February. Of course, I rewatched some things, but I don't want to include any of the things I rewatched a million times in my movie and TV wrap-ups. So there you go. So basically everything new to me that I watched during the month. As always, I'm going to start with my movies. I'm going to end with my favorite movie of the month, and then I'll talk about any TV shows that I finished. Okay, so the first movie that I watched in February that was new to me is Widows. This one is starring Liam Neeson, Viola Davis, a bunch of other noticeable people. It is a crime drama. So all of these widows, these women, end up sort of working together after their husbands die. There's a little twist to the story that I do not want to ruin for you. It was decent enough. I gave it 4 stars. I also watched The Dinner. It is another crime drama movie. I didn't particularly care for the ending of this movie. I felt like it was incomplete. The plot of this is decent. So we have Richard Gere. What the fuck is his character's name? Because I can't say his goddamn name. Richard's character, I guess he's like a politician or something. They're having dinner with his brother and his brother's wife. So his sister-in-law, whatever. So the two are meeting up for dinner, but this isn't any ordinary dinner. They have decided to meet with one another to talk about what they should do about their sons. Apparently, their sons have committed a horrendous crime, and now the two families are trying to decide what's the next step, basically. Any type of bad publicity for a politician could mean the end of their career. This politician is doing what most politicians do, and that is trying to cover shit up to clean up their mess. I feel like it didn't wrap up fully, and for that reason, I had to give it 3 stars. This next one I was pleasantly surprised with, and that is Rust Creek. I found this on Netflix, and once again, I just clicked on it on an off chance and ended up really enjoying it. I gave it 4 stars. We have a young woman. She's traveling to a job interview, I believe, and she gets lost along the way. She ends up in the wrong neck of the woods, so to speak. And she is spotted by these 2 people out in the woods who are committing a crime. And they think that she's seen them. So they go after her and a chase ensues. They are after this woman in the woods. And it's just a crazy, wild ride. I really, really enjoyed it. Once again, we have several movies this time that were competing for favorite movie of the month. And this next one is one that I actually considered putting down as my favorite of the month, but it lost to another movie that I'll talk about later on towards the end of this video. But anyway, that movie is Red Dot, another gem that I found on Netflix. We have a couple who seem to be struggling in their relationship. They decide to take a trip. They decide they're going to try and rekindle their relationship. And there's really no one else around. But they notice that there's a red dot, like a red laser dot, beaming on them while they're out in the wilderness in this tent alone. And so someone has a sniper gun with a laser targeted at them. And this movie took the craziest twist that I was not expecting. I I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil the ending. It is a drama, horror, thriller, 5 freaking stars. This movie, it's a little hidden gem on Netflix. If it's still there, go check it out because this one blew me away. It was incredible. This next one was crazy, crazy, crazy. It is titled The Vanished. It is an action mystery thriller movie. It's starring Thomas Jane. Him and his wife, they're at a campsite and their daughter turns up missing. This is one of those movies where nothing is as it seems. We have this husband and wife, this father and mother who will stop at nothing to find their abducted child, their daughter. But things are just not as they seem. And boy, the plot twist, did not see the entire thing coming. It was a really good movie. I gave it 4 stars. I also watched Pulp Fiction for the first time, if you can believe it. A movie buff like me, there are a lot of movies that I still have not seen, like The Godfather. I still haven't seen it, and I love movies, but there are a lot of prominent movies that I've yet to see, and Pulp Fiction just happened to be one of them. I finally watched it for the first time ever at 33 years old, February of 2021. Finally saw it and fucking loved it. This one was also in competition as one of my favorite movies of the month, but another one beat it out. But I love Quentin Tarantino. He did not disappoint. Most people know what Pulp Fiction is about. I'm not going to go into it, but it is master storytelling and master filmmaking. Quentin Tarantino at his peak. Amazing movie. I also watched Midnight Special. I gave this one 4 stars. In this movie, we have a little boy who he has some sort of powers or ability. There are people who are after him and after the people he's traveling with. I watched Into the Storm, you know, typical weather disaster type of movie. These people are storm trackers. They're tracking the storm. I gave it 3 stars. Boy, oh boy, this next one was really bizarre, and that is Elizabeth Harvest. So, how do I describe this movie without giving away too much of the plot? We have this woman, when the movie begins, there's this man and woman, and they're newlyweds. He's bringing his new bride home, but right away you can tell that something is off here. Something weird is going on. He shows her around his home and he tells her that she has free reign to the home except for this one room that she cannot enter. Kind of like Beauty and the Beast. Remember when he's, yeah. But except for this one room that she cannot enter. And surely curiosity gets the best of her and she enters this room and she discovers something that she should not have known about. And she pays the price for that. I can't really tell you much else because it's just, you have to watch this movie. Now, there was something towards the end, I think, that I didn't understand or that I didn't like. But overall, I thought this was a pretty decent film. Me, myself, personally, I gave it 3 stars. But like I said, 3 stars for me just means that I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. It's right in the middle for me. And this is considered a sci-fi thriller or sci-fi horror film. I also watched I Care a Lot on Netflix. This one was crazy as well. I'm not the type of person who thinks that movies need to mirror reality. And I've heard some critiques and criticisms and reviews about this movie, about how the storyline was far-fetched and things of that nature. Anything that you can make up, it can be created. It doesn't have to be realistic. And older people, senior citizens, are often taken advantage of. There have been news stories about elderly people losing their entire life savings because some con artist came in and promised them a bunch of things and stole all their money from them. So what happened in this movie, not really that far-fetched if you think about it. People do prey on the elderly and these things do happen. Not necessarily in this way, but yeah, bad things like that do happen. People do con the elderly. But anyway, in this movie, You know, there's this woman, she's a legal guardian, but she is a crooked legal guardian. She's only out to make a quick buck, and she makes her living from being a con artist. She takes advantage of the elderly and she puts them in a position to become their legal guardian so that she can take their belongings and have full access to all their funds, everything. And she locks them away and she just reaps all the benefits from their livelihood. Until one day she decides to swindle and fuck with the wrong elderly woman. And thus, the greatest revenge story ever begins. I really like the banter between the main character, which I'm so sorry, I can never remember the names of a lot of these main characters unless it's a beloved movie of mine. But it's the same girl who played in Gone Girl. She knows how to play crazy very well. But her character and Peter Dinklage character, I like their back and forth banter. And I liked her back and forth banter with the elderly woman that she was trying to take advantage of. I gotta get these damn names, my God. So it's a crime thriller, but there's also some comedy mixed in there for your pleasure. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. Upon rewatch, I might bump it down. Okay, so the next movie that I watched was titled Berlin Syndrome. This is a drama, horror, mystery. Yet again, another movie that I just clicked on a whim and ended up really enjoying it. We have a young woman who's traveling and living in a strange new area. She's new to this country and she's sightseeing and whatnot, and she ends up meeting this guy and she ends up going back home with him and having a good time. And you know, they spend some time together, and then one day she wakes up in his apartment and she realizes that she isn't able to leave. He refuses to let her leave. She's a prisoner in this man's apartment. And you can tell this might not be his first time doing this because he has the apartment set up so that there's no way out. So we follow this woman in this crazy relationship as she fights for her freedom. I think this movie works well as a cautionary tale for young people, men and women, to be careful who you go home with. There's a lot to be learned here in this movie. It made me so angry at times, which is why I ended up giving it 4 stars, because like moments that I saw that she had an opportunity to do more than what she was doing, and she wasn't doing it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, girl? But other than that, pretty decent film. I would suggest checking this one out. I also watched Greenland. This is starring Gerard Butler, and this is your, you know, yearly disaster film. I quite enjoyed it though, especially upon first viewing. Basically, we're following this one family as they fight and struggle to survive this extinction level event that is happening on Earth. It's a decent enough film. Upon first watch, I gave this one 5 stars, but if I were to watch it again, I probably would give this one 4 stars, but it was very entertaining. One of our family movie night movies was Trolls World Tour. Oh my God, I love this movie. 5 stars. It has such a deeper message as well. In this movie, there's all these different troll communities, and each has their own style of music. But we have this one formidable, overbearing, powerful, vengeful group, the Rockers, who has stolen strings from other troll communities and is basically trying to silence all the other communities so they can be the one reigning community, the one reigning force. And if you think about it, it's symbolism for a much deeper message that, you know, even though people, or trolls in this instance, but I looked at it as people out in the real world, even though people over here are doing one thing and they're like this, and people over here are doing another thing and they're like this, or they look like this. People over here look differently and they're doing their own thing and they're like that. And people over here are also different and doing their own thing. It doesn't mean that we can't all thrive. You know what I mean? Like, there's something that each person, each group, each community brings to the entire pot. And we can all throw a little bit of our mixtures in there and we can all thrive together. And it doesn't have to be one group against the other. We can all come together and live in peace and create beautiful music and art. And I just love the message that this movie gives. I would watch this 1,000 times with or without the kids. I freaking loved it. This is a movie that both adults and children can enjoy. And the music wasn't bad. The message was phenomenal. And I just, I just loved it. I just loved it. All the hateful ass adults in the world need to sit down and watch this goddamn movie and learn a thing or two. I also watched The Croods: A New Age. This is the sequel to the first film. We watched this as another family movie night movie. And of course, I loved it. It was spectacular. I didn't like it as much as the first one. I gave this one 4 stars, but nevertheless, still a really enjoyable film. In this movie, the gang's all back and they have stumbled across a new group who claim to be more evolved than the Croods are. So there's another step in the evolution. They're the next step in the evolution process, basically. And, they're just... The Croods family is at odds with this new family, and there's something that happens that helps everyone band together. It was a really good movie. This next movie I did not really like, and I'm upset about it because I paid to rent it, and that is You Should Have Left. I didn't like this movie. I gave this one 2 stars. So basically, Amanda's character is dating Kevin Bacon's character. He's a much older man than her. Apparently, there's some rumor, some things have been said about Kevin Bacon's character. Some rumors about things that he might have done. And they go out to this house, I guess, just to get away. And strange things start to happen in the house. And I just did not care for this at all. It has some of its, cool moments or whatever. It's a horror thriller. I mean, check it out if you like these actors in haunted house stories. You might actually like this one. I didn't care for it at all. This next one I was really excited to see because I've heard so many people rave about this movie and about how much they enjoyed it. And that was Troll Hunter. I don't get it. What is it about this movie that y'all love so goddamn much? I gave this one 2 stars. I'm sorry to anybody who is a Troll Hunter fan, but I just didn't care for this one. I thought the runtime was a little long, that it ran on a little longer than it should have. I lost interest in this movie, throughout the film. I remember stopping it to go and do other stuff and then coming back to finish it. I did that a couple times. Maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset at the time when I was watching this movie. Maybe again in the future I'll try and watch it and just watch it straight through. But I wasn't fascinated or blown away by this movie like most people are. So we have these group of students and they're investigating some type of bear attack or something like that. Mysterious bear killings. And they learn that there is an actual troll out here. And they end up following this hunter and documenting this whole encounter of the hunter and the troll. And, it had its moments, but I just wasn't blown away. Maybe I had higher than expected expectations for this movie because I've heard so many great things about it. but I just was not blown away by this at all. Now, we've gotten down to the last movie of the month, which happens to be my favorite movie of the month. Of course, I always save my favorite for last, and that is The Hateful Eight by Quentin Tarantino. This movie, why did it take me so long to finally watch this movie? This movie blew me away. The way that Quentin Tarantino constructed this film, most of the movie takes place in one setting. So first of all, this movie is starring Samuel L. Jackson and Kurt Russell. I love me some Kurt Russell, love Samuel. So, you know, sign me up. Samuel L. Jackson's character stops Kurt Russell on the road, asks for a ride. Kurt Russell is transporting a female prisoner, and, you know, it's snowy, it's cold. They stop along the way to find shelter at a local cabin where people usually stop along the way. They can eat, rest, things of that nature. And when they get there, there's already a group inside the cabin. And they seem pretty unsuspecting until some things start happening and everybody starts pointing the finger at one another. I loved this movie. So clever. Loved the way the story was told. It was great. It was so great. And then, you know, I don't want to give anything else away, but, you know, you find out that everybody is not who they say they are, and everything, of course, is not as it seems. And Quentin Tarantino is such a master at telling a story. I just really love his work. That is it for the movies that I watched in February. As far as TV shows are concerned, I only watch one new to me TV show because, of course, I rewatch my favorites all the time. But I watched the 3rd season of The Sinner. And I just was not impressed with this 3rd season at all, unfortunately. If you don't know, The Sinner stars Bill, what's his name? Pullman, I think that's his name. He's a detective, and he's usually investigating a different case each season. And each season is a different case, a different story. It's always a mystery surrounding the crime that he's investigating. And in this one, we have a man who has a strange relationship with a friend of his who shows up unexpectedly, and then this friend of his winds up dead, and Bill Pullman's character is trying to find out what really happened. But I just didn't really like this 3rd season very much. I gave it 3 stars. So that is it, guys. Those are all the movies and TV shows that were new to me that I watched in the month of February. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've seen any of these, let me know down in the comment section what you thought of any of these movies or TV shows. I would really love to hear your opinions. Should I give Troll Hunter another shot? Should I try and watch that again? And let me know what you think. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.